Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The educational gap between rich and poor children is narrowing. That's according to a report from the Social Mobility Commission, which advises the government. Whether it's helping with homework or reading bedtime stories, parents in poorer families are doing more than they used to. Our home editor, Mark Easton, has this exclusive report.
I'd like some icing and some strawberries, please.
What chance do these children have of fulfilling their potential?
Can I have an ice cream, please? We don't sell ice creams.
They live in one of Sheffield's most deprived neighbourhoods, a city with some of the widest inequalities in Britain.
Yeah, and let's put it on top right. Yeah.
Across the UK, children from the poorest fifth of households are already a year behind the richest fifth by the age of 5. But ambition is undimmed.
Look what I can do!
Now, what about you, Sophia? What are you going to be when you grow up?
A hairdresser and a mermaid.
A hairdresser and a mermaid.
Sunshine! Sunshine!
But is the gap between the prospects for rich and poor children getting wider or narrower? The Social Mobility Commission, which advises government, has been looking at a rather gloomy prognosis from America and wondering, is it the same story here? World-renowned social scientist Robert Putnam recently offered an alarming assessment of social mobility in the United States, warning the American dream is in crisis.
Kids who are coming from well-off backgrounds are doing better and better. They're doing better in school, they're more likely to take part in extracurricular activities, they have higher test scores, whereas kids coming from lower, less educated homes are doing worse and worse.
So the Social Mobility Commission applied Professor Putnam's methods to Britain, and on key measures, the results were a surprise. Parents helping their children with homework. Among graduate parents, the proportion has fallen slightly in recent years. Among parents with low qualifications, it's risen dramatically. Turning up at parents' evenings, a similar story. Again, the gap has narrowed. There is another measure of parental support the researchers call Gruffalo time. Now, the Gruffalo will be very familiar to most British parents, and it's become almost shorthand for adults reading with, talking with, and playing with their children.
Stacey, you do that one.
Back in the 70s, children could expect 23 minutes a day of this kind of attention. Now it's an average 80 minutes.
Surprise?
Surprise.
Families and schools together.
Parenting support is no longer seen as something only for problem families. In fact, schemes like Families and Schools Together, run in hundreds of schools by Save the Children, are often oversubscribed.
Spending the time with Aaron and Sophia, and we've just doing a bit of craft and things sometimes that we don't always get the time to do it.
Forces you to do it.
Forcing me to do it, which is a little bit out of my comfort zone at times.
Stronger parental support is thought to lie behind big recent falls in truancy, underage drinking and smoking, and crucially, a narrowing of the gap in the experience of rich and poor. Mark Easton, BBC News, Sheffield.
I've been getting